Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of The Framework of Tomorrow. I am your host, Keegan Goldfarb, and I have a special guest here today, Spencer.
Hi, I'm Spencer.
Yes, well, one of my really good friends, Spencer. I would consider you probably one of my best friends.
I think I've known you for, well, coming up on 5 years now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got to be longer than that.
No, it's only 5.
Are you serious?
The other day, and it's like, yeah. This fall will be 6 years after I moved, and then I met you in the summer, so it'd be 5 years coming this, like, May or so.
Oh, wow. I feel like I've known you for a lot longer than that.
I know. It feel like the torture between you and me is quite relentless.
I mean, right. I mean, we knew each other. I guess probably the reason it feels like we've known each other for so long is because we met in middle school, and then middle school and high school.
8th grade.
Yeah, and middle school and high school is just a ride and a half. Yeah. But so today we are going to be talking about the history of cults. We're going to be talking about cults.
Specifically ones like probably like after the 50s or so.
Oh yeah, these are pretty recent cults too.
More recent ones, but there was like a big explosion of cults in like 60s and 70s and after that.
Right, yeah. So before we get started with that, I'm going to talk about, we have two ads now that we have to be talking about. We have to talk about, first one is Ashley Luann Kay. She is one of our sponsors here. If you're seeking guidance for achieving a higher education or insight as life as a nurse, go check her out at Ashley Luann Kay. She is amazing. I believe she just uploaded another video about how she gets ready for going in to work in these crazy times with the coronavirus. And I know her personally. She's very nice. Go check her out at Ashley Luann Kay. Secondly, if you want to start a podcast, I know you do. You listen to this and you're like, man, I can do a million times better than Keegan can. So I encourage you to go click the link in this description for Buzzsprout. That is the service that I use, and you can get put on almost every single platform. And yeah, go check that out. If you use that link, and only if you use that link, if you create a paid account through them and start your own podcast, after your second month payment goes through, you will receive a free $20 Amazon gift card. That's right, a $20 Amazon gift card. So if you're like, man, I really want to go spend money through Amazon, there you go. Just go start a podcast, and that'll feed your addiction of Amazon. I know I'm pretty addicted to spending money on Amazon, especially during these times, because I'll log in, I'll be like, man, I really need, like, I'll see things, I'm like, I kind of want to buy that. Have you been having that problem, Spencer?
I'm not saying whether or not I have bought 50 NFC tags to write amiibos totally legally, but I have.
Exactly. So
I gotta get those Animal Crossing villagers that aren't, like, rude and ugly.
Right, yeah, that's extremely important. I totally agree. But yeah, so let's get right into talking about the history. Well, not the complete history, but just some certain ones we thought were pretty nuts. Some pretty crazy cults. So first off, we have the Heaven's Gate cult. And this cult started in San Diego, California. This was pretty recent. It started in 1974, but really, like, I wouldn't say the interesting things, but kind of the thing that got its, like, traction on the news and stuff happened in 1997 when the whole entire Heaven's Gate group committed mass suicide. Well, yeah, most of them did. It was 39 of them. And you're probably... What was that?
Do you have like the size of the cult before that?
The size of the cult, I believe there was about 150 of them in all. But only 39 of them decided to completely go through with this suicide. And you're probably wondering, you're like, okay, why would 39 of them? Well, 39 including the founder. It was a husband and a wife, Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. They decided to start this in 1974. Both of them actually had religious backgrounds, and he was the son of a Presbyterian minister, and she actually had a pretty extensive theology and biblical prophecy. So fantastic kind of combination of these people. Do you have any thoughts on this, Spencer?
Just seems like a bunch of crazy people in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas.
But, yeah. It was only the 39 because it was the the away team they called themselves.
Yes,
right? Because they thought they were transcending to like some UFO or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they believed that they were going to commit suicide, and then after they committed suicide, they would go into this alien like UFO and take their souls to a level of existence above human. That's the quote. And which he also described as being both physical and spiritual. And their preparations include... Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And it included each of the members videotaping a farewell message to everyone. So...
They also purchased alien abduction insurance.
Yeah, yes, they did.
If they got like abducted or killed by aliens, they could get a payout of like $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But who is insuring for alien abductions at that time? That's even more just odd.
That is a good question. Oh, okay. Apparently, it's something called niche insurance. It's provided for small, low-demand areas, and it helps protect the potential financial losses of individuals and businesses. So I think they can like basically make up random insurance.
Make up an insurance? Or like find a company that would actually allow them to do that?
Yeah.
It says the first company to offer UFO abduction was the St. Lawrence Agency in Florida.
Oh, wow. What in the world? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it says GEICO Insurance. Wait, what?
No, it says it does not sell them.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if they maybe one state or what that's about.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why GEICO's on that. That's super weird. I don't know why they would ever do that. I mean, maybe they did this just to kind of like prey on people.
Chances are they don't have to pay out on it, so they can just,
right, exactly.
It's free money.
Yeah, and they paid 50 members would pay out to $1 million per person if like any of this happened. So if they got like abduction or death by aliens, it would be a payout of about $1 million per person. That is crazy. That's a lot of money.
How could you actually prove death by aliens though?
That's true.
Definitely somebody just making money off crazy people.
Yeah, I mean, good for them for. Well, I guess I don't know if I'd say good
Not
for
really
them.
Good
but
for them, but smart business move, I guess.
Smart, right? Smart business move. Anyway, so they ended up committing mass suicide because they believed they would transcend to like a different level of existence, and they would be able to like move their bodies, their like dead bodies now, to like their beds so that they could like rest peacefully. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. They all wore all black and then they had all these Nike shoes because, quote, they got them cheap.
Got a good deal on them.
They got a good deal on them. So that's why they all wore Nike shoes. Good job, Nike, for giving them a deal.
I'm sure it was just like a store buy in bulk deal.
Right. That is insane. Anyway, so how they ended up committing mass suicide. This is why they are formally known as the Kool-Aid cult.
Kool-Aid cult.
One of the cults. I know there's a couple other ones that ended up using something similar to this.
I mean,
but
I don't remember. Yeah.
This might be the only one, but I swear I heard another one that did kind of something similar to this.
I think there was a cult. It was like they ended up in South America or something, and they actually used Kool-Aid, whereas this group didn't exactly.
Okay. So it looks like they used phenobarbital, which is
just some kind of
it's a certain
poison
it
chemical.
treats certain types of epilepsy in developing countries. What?
I think they just it's just like any other drug in large doses. It's probably not safe for you.
Oh, right.
And they just downed it with applesauce and alcohol.
And some vodka. Yep. And they also secured plastic bags around their heads after drinking this. That's a little overkill, but guess they wanted to make sure it worked.
Yeah, if you're making a trip to your astral body or whatever, I mean, you got to make sure you get it right, I suppose.
Right. That would be a pretty slow and painful death, though.
It says the phenobarbital, some of the side effects are decreased effort to breathe, so...
Oh, okay.
They probably just stopped breathing.
Yikes. And so it looks like somebody found these bodies and ended up making a anonymous call. I think it looks like it was one of the people from the cult that didn't end up going through with it. So this guy would it took him a couple days to even tell the police about this. So when the police actually came in and found all these bodies, they were already decomposing. So apparently it said a single deputy who first responded to the call entered the home through a side door, saw 10 bodies, and was nearly overcome by pungent odor. Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
there was a couple of days there where they weren't found.
Right. Heaven's Gate, aka the Kool-Aid cult.
Oh, it happened, but they aren't even certain when it happened. Sometime between March 22nd and 26th of... What was the year on that?
1997, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. 97.
Yeah, yikes. That's so recent, too. I can't...
I suppose that actually is. Oh, looking at it.
Yeah, that's not fun. I would not want to be a part of that. No, thank you. I don't know what drives people to
prey on people. Well, it's usually just prey on people who are kind of at their lowest or brainwash people or start them up from birth in the cult.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yikes. And apparently one of the people that was a part of this was originally a part of the original Star Trek television series. She was Uhura. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that on some of the classic TV channels.
Right.
I don't remember any of the names.
Yeah, I think I've only seen that show a couple of times. I think only in film classes though.
It's fun to watch, but it's definitely aged.
Oh yeah, for sure. The second one we have is, I'm sure most of you know about this, the Charles Manson cult. This was a cult in 1969, so this was a little bit ago. But this was basically just a cult of a bunch of hippies who took LSD. And most of the group members were young women from middle-class backgrounds, many of whom were radicalized by Manson's teaching and drawn by hippie culture and communal living. They all lived in kind of the same area. if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's kind of a little spin on that story. So it kind of starts off the same. The ending is way different than how it actually happens. They end up murdering a lot of famous people, and they were also responsible for a bunch of other murders, assaults, petty crimes, and thefts. Have you heard a whole lot about this, Spencer?
I haven't looked into it a lot, but the other thing I've heard recently is that Charles Manson was killed in prison a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. So he's not living anymore.
No.
Oh my gosh, the photo they have on this website.
Oh yeah, he looks insane.
He looks insane. Okay. What? He believed the Manson family believed that Manson was a manifestation of Jesus.
Specifically Charles Manson.
Yeah. And
he
was
believed he was like a reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Yikes.
Which, believe it or not, is a kind of common theme across cult leaders.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, I am Jesus. And they're like...
hey, if you want to convince people, that's one way to do it.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty effective way to get people to listen to you. And a lot of these people have religious backgrounds too to them. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, yeah, that was the Charles Manson cult, 1969. Super crazy cult. Super crazy. Go check out.
What all did they do exactly?
What?
What all did they do?
They murdered a famous actress, Sharon Tate, along with 4 others. And like I said, they're responsible for a bunch of different murders in California with like random break-ins. Basically, Manson didn't tell them to go do stuff. They kind of just took it upon themselves to go out and like kill people for him. Because
he was arrested. So what I'm reading here is once he was arrested, he carved an X in his forehead on like the first day of trial, and he says, "I have X'd myself from your world." And the next day, his co-defendants or his family also had X's carved in their foreheads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened here.
Yeah, just a bunch of crazy people. I think he was still trying to convert people, or whatever you want to call it, to his cult, even in jail.
Yeah, even in jail. Some of the people in the Manson family ended up getting released from prison after serving time in prison. So some of them actually got out, and I think they're still alive. I believe Sandra Good, is she still alive? Yeah, she's still alive. Holy cow, she looks insane. Yikes.
Yeah, so he died in 2017.
Oh, he did die in 2017, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
What did he die of? Does it say?
He got stabbed.
He got stabbed, in prison?
Yeah.
Oh, yikes. That is insane. What? Charles Manson.
Crazy people are just something else.
They really are. I can't believe a lot of this stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's cults in I know there's cults in different countries, but these cults are just, I feel like they're more like televised on like what's going on with these things. What do you think?
I think it's just, easy to get. So like how there's there's a couple of Netflix shows about cults right now. I don't remember if their originals are just on Netflix right now, but I think it's just kind of easy for them to get the views on them.
It's true. And then I'm sure people see like the effect on these cults and are like, oh, I can go do that. And they will get me attention. It's kind of like the same thing with like serial killers and stuff. I feel like.
Well, a lot of the serial killer stuff is also just like a mindset they're in.
Right. Yeah. But
some of I know stuff they do it for attention, but it's also the mindset that causes them to do it the way they do it for attention.
Yeah, for sure. The media definitely, I feel like, has an effect on that, though. And kind of,
Well, and so I mean, let's just like on the topic of media, like getting people famous. So in other countries, like mass shooters or people who just commit these large murder crimes,
Hmm.
are they, like their names are not released in the media at all.
Yeah, that's smart. I don't
Just
understand why we don't do that.
I don't know, man.
Crazy. And then, so our next one, moving on from, unless do you have any other comments on the?
No, I've got that one at the end.
Okay, sweet. The next one we have here is the Branch Davidians. This one was in Texas. In the year it was founded in 1959, and I believe it was pretty recent that they had a whole, like, 76 people died. Okay, yeah, this was in the mid 70s. So there ended up being a 1,293.
1993 was when that last part happened.
93? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then, wow. In the mid 1970s, there was 1,200 members. So I wonder how many there were towards the end. This is insane. Anyway, so what happened here was there was a guy named Vernon Howells. This was in Waco, Texas. And he ended up getting a part of this group called the Branch Davidians. And there was a couple people who were already running this cult at the time. Because it was founded... Okay, now that makes more sense. It was founded in 1970, right? And
Yeah.
then in 1981, Vernon Howell, a.k.a. he changes his name later to David Koresh because he believes it kind of signifies more of like being associated with David, part of the Bible. So he felt it to be like more holy. And he ended up like disagreeing with a bunch of the leaders and kind of overthrowing the leaders of this like kind of already cult, but then kind of took it to another level. And a lot of people, I think, left at that time, but there were still like hundreds of people still in this thing. And he basically looked at himself as Jesus, right? Kind of the same as, what was it? Heaven's Door. Actually, all of these. I think all of the guys have
like almost every cult leader is that
say they're
looking at
Jesus.
has claimed to either be Jesus or a reincarnation of Jesus.
Yikes. And he believed that he was a part of the plan for the second coming of Jesus. And he basically convinced all these people that he was Jesus to follow him. And they ended up taking a bunch of like different kinds of military weapons. Actually, they got a hold of some military weapons and
What did they?
camped out in Mount Carmel Center in 1987.
I think that was actually their compound, was at Mount Carmel Center.
Right, but they were camping out in there. And he had actually, so it was pretty messed up. He ended up, I think, having kids with like 12 other people inside of this. He called them spiritual wives. Oh, some were as young as 12 years old.
Oh.
Yikes. And he wanted to create a new lineage of world leaders, and he believed that his like lineage, oh my goodness, this is horrible. But basically somebody finally like went to like the FBI and was like, this is happening, like you need to stop this. And ATF ended up coming to the Mount Carmel Center, which is where their like kind of base was, and they were kind of holding out, and they had a bunch of weapons. So
the ATF came in with 50 caliber rifles and
they
combat engineering vehicles, so there was definitely stuff to be afraid of inside of that compound.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
And initially they were ordered to just use like tear gas to get them out peacefully, and only like return fire if they were fired upon first.
Yeah, and then they ended up being fired back upon, and 76 of them died on April 19th.
Of the cultists.
Of the cultists, yeah, from falling rubble.
4 ATF agents were killed. 16 were wounded.
Yikes. From falling rubble, suffocating effects of the fire, or by gunshot wound from fellow Branch Davidians.
Oh, the compound was assaulted on more than one occasion.
Yeah, it was the siege lasted
on February 28th.
Yeah.
And there was a final assault on April 19th that killed 76 more.
Yeah, it says the siege ended up lasting 51 days.
Dear Lord.
That's how long they held out in there? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this horrible cult. Oh my gosh. He was like doing horrible things to the people like I talked about.
To children.
To children. Yeah, right. And it basically has a tie to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They're considered like a small group of them.
That's odd. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if the Seventh-day Adventist Church considered them that, but they were like, oh, we're part of this church.
Well, I think it probably held up some of the beliefs is why they're considered a sect of it.
Right, yeah. Yikes. He stole the identity of the Branch Davidian Seventh-day Advocates for the purpose of obtaining the Mount Carmel. Oh, so that's how he got the property. He
was going through the Adventists?
Right, he went through the Adventists and basically was like, oh, it's okay. Like,
yeah, it's fine. I'm definitely not doing anything bad.
I'm not doing anything illegal. Oh my gosh. Just horrible. Where is he?
He's I'm pretty sure he died.
Yes. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he died.
Yeah, he died on the final siege.
Yeah, gunshot wound to the head. Oh my goodness. He looks so creepy. He has like the long, like...
Okay, you have to look at how young he was too when he was doing all of this.
Yeah. He was 33, but then but like before that, he would have been in like his 20s when all this stuff was going on, because this was a while. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, one of the 14-year-old gave birth to one of his kids.
Yikes.
But he never got to meet the kid. Oh my goodness. Just super messed up. Oh my gosh. Cults, people. Amazing.
They're bad. Don't join one.
Don't join a cult. Please don't join a cult.
If you're feeling lonely, go talk to your friends, meet new people. Don't join a cult.
Yeah, don't join a cult. Please do not join a cult. And then, so you said you have our last one here, right?
So I've got the last one here. It is what was it? I gotta get the exact name of it again because it's kind of long here. The Order of the Solar Temple. It was started in 1984 in Switzerland, which is a little bit different than the past few we've had, which were all started in America.
In America, in the South or in California.
So for the most part, it's based off the ideals of the Knight Templar from like the 14th century or earlier even.
Oh, okay.
And the leader, what was his name real quick here? Joseph de Mabro claimed to be a reincarnation of a 14th century Templar and a reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness. Every single one of these.
Yeah. It's you know what? I think if you can claim it and try to work with it, you can convince quite a few people to follow you.
Yeah, if people believe it. What in the world?
And another like weird claim he had brainwashed into his followers was that his daughter was the quote-unquote cosmic child that would lead them to this planet orbiting Sirius after the star Sirius after their death.
What?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Like this 6-7-year-old from the looks of it was helping lead a cult.
What?
And so just jumping straight into the crazy, in 1994, I think, or sometime around, it was, between 94 and 97, they were just committing mass suicide. And the real crazy part was there was a small sect of them in Canada, and they named their their child so it wasn't just localized to Europe, and there was some parts of it in Canada. But what they found was 3 people had been murdered in Canada by the cult. It was 2 parents and their newborn child that they happened to name after one of the cult's
Oh my god.
cult leader's children. And he claimed that the cult leader claimed that all of his children were holy or whatever.
Right.
So the rest of the cult thought that child was the Antichrist and
They just
sacrificed the child.
What?
Yeah, and then stabbed the parents for committing heresy or whatever they decided it was.
Jeez.
And then throughout between 94 and 97, there was 23 bodies discovered in Switzerland that were mass suicide from the cult, and 25 found in Valais.
Oh my god.
That was just 5 days after the 3 people had been killed in Canada. The total deaths attributed to the cult were 74, including children. Oh yeah. The child that was claimed to be the Antichrist was stabbed with a wooden stake. What
the heck? I think this is the crazy one we have. I'm glad this was our last one. What in the world? This is 20 years ago. 20-something years ago.
Oh, and so right before the mass suicides, the cult, Demabro took 12 of the highest ranked members of the cults, and they had this Last Supper type thing.
Oh my gosh.
And he claimed his children were demigods.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What? I am speechless. This is insane.
And, so those parents that were murdered actually revealed some secrets about the cult, and that's why most people think they were actually murdered.
The kids were?
Yeah. Or no, the parents of that child.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. The leader's own son was a skeptic, it looks like. Oh my gosh.
But his body was found among the mass suicide.
Yikes. Oh, so why did they end up committing suicide then? Or was there not a reason?
I presume something along the lines of to pass on to his daughter, it says that she was a cosmic child and would lead them to Sirius or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So I presume it was something along the lines of kill yourselves to go to the next afterlife or whatever.
Right. And that was all mostly in Switzerland then, where they did that?
Yeah, Switzerland and those 3 murders in Canada.
Yikes. Switzerland's taking it to a new level. Oh my gosh. That is insane. Well, I think if we've learned anything from these cults is that people are dumb. And
I wouldn't put dumb, but just desperate, because when you're desperate for anything, you'll kind of believe a lot.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that this will probably continue to happen. I'm sure we'll have more cults continue to pop up every once in a while. But hopefully, maybe those people could maybe look back at some of these crazy cults and be like, oh, maybe this isn't right.
Support your family. Keep them out of cults. Be a good person.
Yeah, support your family. Keep them out of cults. You do a little ad on the radio. It'd be amazing.
Don't do cults. They're bad.
Yeah, don't do cults. They're very, very bad. All right. Well, yeah, that was cults. That was the great, fantastic history. Well, brief and
fantastic
recent
history of group suicide and manipulation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as always, I end my episodes with a random history fact. I bet you didn't know this, that once upon a time, the famous conqueror Napoleon was attacked by bunnies. The emperor had requested that a rabbit hunt would be arranged for himself and his men. His chief of staff set it up and had men round up around 3,000 rabbits for this hunt that they wanted to do. And once they were all ready for this hunt, and they're like, all right, release the rabbits. They released the rabbits, but instead of them being able to hunt them, the bunnies instead decided to charge toward Napoleon and all of his men in a vicious and unstoppable onslaught.
Do you think that killer rabbit of Carbanog was based on this? That rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
That very well could be. That could be pretty accurate. But Napoleon was an interesting person in general, and then the fact that he wanted to go hunting for 3,000 rabbits and they just decided to attack him is just amazing. It enhances my views on Napoleon. Oh, that was great. What do you think about that?
I think he definitely deserved the rabbit stampede.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I hope his ankles were bitten thoroughly.
I hope his ankles were bit thoroughly. You heard it here, folks. That's amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to The Framework of Tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a little thing or two about cults and about Napoleon's kneecaps being bit off by rabbits. Thank you, Spencer, for coming on.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, this is my first guest on this podcast, so
I'm honored.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. So, you can definitely come back, I think.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't mind. I gotta just make sure to think of a topic before the night before next time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Next time it's gonna be even better. So remember to keep listening. Go rate me on iTunes, and I will read you off at the start of the episode. I'll give you a little shout out, and tell your friends about me. Go check me out at the Framework of Tomorrow on Instagram. Go follow me. And yeah, you want to close this out, Spencer?
Tune in next week, because I probably will too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Rally Podcasting Network. Your favorite podcast rallied into one place.